Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful projects from start to finish with easy to follow guides. Okay, and so I asked earlier this week if you guys thought we should have some fun and recreate one of the art images from Chantilly, Bring Back My Pack, and we're going to switch it up, of course, and I'm going to make it a little bit different. But so I'm going to add you down onto my desk so you can see some of the things that I've pulled together. So I got a lot of stuff down here. So hopefully, is that better? Sorry, that's so weird because I actually unclicked it. So maybe it has something to do with that countdown timer that was on there. So sorry about that. Hey everybody, I'm Chris from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful projects from start to finish with easy to follow guides. So earlier this week, I asked if you guys thought we should try and recreate a version of this artwork from the Chantilly Bring Back My Pack. So I changed some things up, and we're going to alter some things. We're going to kind of stay true to like the same concept. You should have sound now, Crystal. The button just gets stuck sometimes. So right at the beginning, there was no sound. So what happens is, because it's like a program, if the slider is in the wrong spot, then it has a hard time switching over for some reason. I'm just going to move my camera slightly. Okay, so as soon as I saw this layout, I knew the photos I was going to pick. This are actually photos from 2011. And this is my daughter and their photo. This is our lab. She was very old at this point, but we took out some fun costumes to the lake from my daughter's dance. And there's actually some beautiful photographs of her on point on the dock. But these, I knew these were the photos that I wanted to use for this layout. So we're going to take the inspiration and the concept of this layout, and we're going to switch out some things. So I'm going to show you what I did. I'm going to put you right down onto the desk so that you can see more. There we go. Okay, so I was actually thinking, I should have written down the measurements that I used, but I'll do that as we go along. Okay, so I picked a 4x6 photograph. So we're actually going to use this photo on this layout. These ones are maybe going to be a companion page or a second page. We'll just have to see what I'm going to do with that. Okay, so I picked out some embellishments, and I've kind of followed their inspiration here. So I'm just going to tell you some of the things I did. But first, I'll show you Here we go. Okay, so this paisley piece I have here, I grabbed here, and this is my 12 by 12. I have the full set of stickers. So we're going to play with that when it gets to embellishments. So then from there, we come in here with this, it's like a faux flower or whatever print. And on the back side is like the lemonade. So I have here flamingo, and I'm going to mat it. So I'll tell you what my layers are as we go. So the flamingo, so all these pieces are square. And so I thought I might just explain to you too how I kind of started. So when I looked at the image, I knew there was a nice wide border on the outside, and I wanted lots of the paisley to show. You can totally gut out the middle of this if you want to save this piece of paper. So my flamingo piece, I actually cut it to 10.5 by 10.5. And then the Chantilly piece of paper is 10.25 by 10.25. So we're going to add these 2 layers. So while I do that, I'll talk about how I decided how big to make these pieces of paper. So when I actually started, I started with a bigger piece of paper in the print, and then worked my way down because I actually started with the flamingo at like 11 by 11, but I didn't like how small a border that was. I wanted like a nice wide border. Why are we doing that? Okay. I don't know why the camera's bouncing like that. That's super strange. Let's just see what's going on here. Okay, so I'm going to try and leave something up there. Maybe it's just even this pattern is too light for it. I actually think too there is a chance that so this is actually a webcam over top, and I have a feeling it might be dying a slow little death. So I might need to look into replacing that, because what happens is it's trying to white balance constantly. Okay, and I'll explain what I did here once we get all of these layers down. Like I said, I'm just going to leave that in the middle here. So, and like I said, if you want to cut out the middle, I've done that before. If anybody doesn't know how to gut the background, I can totally explain it. You could just put it in your trimmer, and I actually should have grabbed maybe my Versamat here. Sorry, I'm just trying to center it. Just give me 1 second. I just want to get relatively close to center here. And like I said, I should have grabbed my Versamat totally. I could still stand up and get that. Okay. So, well, now that I have this down, we should be pretty good. Okay. So then they have a white daisy layer and a scarlet layer, and then the main piece of the layout. So here is what I did for these ones. So we're going to attach these 2 together. I'm still going to leave that there so the camera focuses on that. And I'll tell you what I did these 2 layers at. So, and I did these ones super skinny, like just a really thin border. So these ones, Nobody's going to like this measurement, I don't think. But I did these. Eight and 7/8. And then this one is 8 and 5/8, because then I did this one 8 and 3/8. And you'll see when it comes together, because I wanted to make sure that if I'm going to use that much pattern paper, I want it to be visible. This one is, I'm going to do this way, but just so we know. So the other thing I'm just going to say is this, I'm pretty sure, is watercolor. I didn't want to use watercolors because I knew the color palette that my photos were. I went and I picked distressed oxides. So I actually used mustard seed, picked raspberry, and mermaid lagoon. So I love this color combination. It's super fun. And so I played with it here first to make sure that that's what I wanted. So you can see here, they have green, they have pink, and they have yellow. So I'm assuming they were going for one of the pinks in watercolor, right? So the flamingo, or you can go peach, right? And remember, I showed you last week how to mix the watercolors to get their color. So you could totally do that. But I wanted more vibrant colors because I knew the photos that I was going to add to the layout. I know these colors, these are actually kind of like my go-to. Well, these two are for sure go-to colors, especially in the distress oxides. Yellow, I'm not such a huge fan of yellow, but there wasn't a green in the distress oxides that I wanted to use. And I had enough yellow in my photographs to use the mustard seed, right? So, like I said, I played around with them till I got the combination that I wanted. And there is enough yellow in here that I felt we could play with it. So then to create the background, I didn't actually have to worry about colors mixing or anything like that, because I know, right? I'm going to have my photograph on top of here, and then we're going to add stuff on the layout as well. So I just wanted to basically lay down some color, and then I thought, oh, let's just play up something else, add another element to the background. So I took one of the stencils, and I actually had cleaned it. That's why it's not over here. So this is one of the stencils from our stencil pack, right? And it's just the one with the circles. So I did this beforehand because I wanted to make sure it dried before we start to put anything down. So I laid down my color, and then I did my circles. And you could see almost that's exactly where I sat it. Taped it down, rubbed it again with my colors just to add another layer in there. And then I added some water just because I thought, well, they're lake pictures, let's do some distressing. So that's how I created the background. Like I said, it's different than the one they did because I'm pretty sure it's watercolor. And I wasn't going to do that because I wanted the more vibrant colors. That's why I went with distress oxides. Sometimes you guys like me to explain why I do things. So that is what I did. And you can actually see it turned out awesome. I'm actually super happy with how it turned out. And like I said, I wasn't really worried about color mixing because we're going to cover up so much of it anyway, right? So now I'm just going to, maybe if I leave that there, add this to the other layers. So and I actually almost at the last second changed the scarlet layer for Lagoon, but I'll show you. I had already stamped all the flowers from the Chantilly with scarlet ink, which is what they did in the artwork. So I wasn't going to at this point restamp them all. So I'm putting my pink at the top. The Mermaid Lagoon is over here, and then the mustard seed is on the other side. So I'm just going to try and center this as best I can. Okay, so now I'm going to add this to the background, and I'm actually going to pop that photograph up on thin 3D foam tape so it's a little bit easier to add things behind. So just like this. And this one is super easy to actually get center, or easier, I should say, to get centered because you can tell by the flowers. Okay, so this is what I've got for my base. Don't really need that anymore. Okay, so for the sticker sheet, you guys have seen me do this before, but when they have like a solid sticker sheet like this, I like to pull the white backing out. So if I want to try out a sticker in a spot, I could actually cut it out of this full sheet and add it down onto my page. And just by pulling this backing off, you can see the real size of images too, because when they print the sticker sheets, there's a border. So you can see here, for example, with this heart, you can see on the sheet it looks wider. And then when you pull up the white, you can see the actual size of the sticker. So you kind of get, and see here too, right? There's extra printing around the sticker. So if you originally have a space that you think is that big, you get a much better feel for the size of the sticker if you pull the backing off. So just do it gently. Some stickers, if they have lots of really small stickers, sometimes they can get stuck in the backing. So I always just kind of check and make sure I've got nothing left there. Oh, yeah. So also, it makes it super easy to use your stickers. So like if you are doing one of my workshops and you've got all your piles of layouts ready to go, I literally chop up my stickers. So I'll cut them apart and then lay them down into the piles that they belong to, right? So if I know, for example, we're going to take this sticker because they used it. We'll use it just to make it easy. And we're going to use this one that says, "You make my heart happy." So I would, if I knew these were for like layout number 1, I cut them out and lay them on my piles, and it just makes it way easier for later. And then I can just go through and put my whole layout together. So if I knew beforehand, right, like you know when you're doing a workshop, you know that X, Y, and Z stickers is for layout number 1, you can trim them out and put them in their piles. I don't know. I just find it super helpful. Also, if you're kind of trying to gauge the size of stuff, right? So I knew, I wasn't sure if this was a 5x6 or 5x7 photo or 4x6. But as soon as you look at it against the sticker, which is the sticker they used, I know it's a 4x6 photo and not a 5x7 photo. Okay, so and then it actually makes things much easier to gauge sizes, for example, and you could cut them apart really easily. So lots of times too, I'll just get one of the long trays from the organizing system too, and I'll cut them apart into chunks and just throw them in the organizational tray. Okay, so some of the other stickers we're going to need are these really cute little flowers here. They've got this lagoon heart on here. So we're going to add that. Okay, so down here, they've got this big sticker right here. So we'll cut it out. So I'm just going to cut off the 2 borders. This little green "You Are Loved" sticker too. Right here. Because it does actually, I know it sounds kind of funny, but it does actually make a big difference on the size of the sticker with the border around it versus not having the border around it. Okay, so we need this here. And this. And then we're going to do the circles there. Oh, that's adorable, which is over here. Then, okay, so we have this sticker. There's the little lagoon heart. We need some leaves. So where are those? They're right there. Or this one here. I also find it way easier to trim out the wax paper versus trying to cut through that super hard cards. Like, it's great because they all stay in place, but it's actually really hard to cut around the white cardstock thick sticker pieces. Okay, so we've got the flower there. This, okay, we have the little pink heart. We need another set of leaves for up there. So we do need this one out of here. So at this point, kind of, I will probably cut this so it's a little more manageable to also use. Okay, so I think we're going to stop cutting stickers and we'll start assembling, and then we'll decide if we need some more. Okay, so this, we will start with this. Okay, so then I took the 2 stamped images or stamps, and this is the main flower that they used. There you go. Lee's saying, I can see a good video on Netflix and a great pile of stickers being cut up. Yes, that's like fussy cutting too, right? Like, so you can see I fussy cut some of these out, right? So there's no thin cut for this stamp set. So I just played around with the colors. So I took scarlet ink and I stamped it on all the coordinating colors. So there's a white daisy, there's some with white daisy, there's some with both sides of flamingo. I did some of the little flowers too, but I just kind of stamped a whole bunch of stuff and then just sat and fussy cut them out. I know some people don't like to fussy cut. It's totally like, I can do it kind of mindlessly, right? Like, it's just kind of just sit and play. And then I stamped some of the pie pieces, and they're off of this second stamp set, which is the Chantilly scrapbooking one. Okay, and so because they have a few of the pie pieces tucked into each side, I did cut 2 circles, and we're going to kind of make like a cheat sheet here. So you can see here, there's some here, and then you probably can't see, but there's another few pieces over here. So this is what I'm going to do first to kind of get these in place. So I had to kind of guess on a size to fit the pie pieces on. I just thought they would line up better if I cut out some circles for them. So these circles I cut out are 3 1/4. Don't know that that's actually the right size, but we're going to adhere our pie pieces to these. So I took lemonade, not lagoon, ink. So they're all different, and I kind of just picked and chose the ones. So too, I actually used my trimmer to cut the straight lines on here, and then just fussy cut the rounded pieces. And by adding them onto the circle, even if I didn't cut perfect, they're gonna look like they're perfect. So then this one with the little swirls I did with scarlet. So I'm gonna add that on my circle. And like I said, it doesn't really matter if they match or not. So then I have the lagoon one. So these are all the pieces you can see. I'm probably going to add one more right here because our circles kind of go in there. Now I know this is going to be covered up, so you don't really have to fill it if you don't want to, but I'm going to just add another piece so that if for some reason you can see it in the end, which you're probably not going to, it will have some color on it. Okay, so that I'm going to add over there. So then I have my second circle over here. And this one, we're hardly going to see any of it, but I do have 3 pieces that I will add to this side. Like I said, just in case something pokes out and you can see it. So I have a scarlet piece. So in the photograph, this is the only piece you can see, but I'm filling in these other pieces because my arrangement, right, might look slightly altered from theirs. So now I just have a lemonade piece. Okay, and then I have one lagoon piece. So, and I know, right, it's going to get covered up, so I don't need more than that. I'm just trying to kind of bring the 2 pieces from each side. So, also, I think I'm actually just going to trim that because I don't need all the rest of the circle, right? So, if I want to use this element on the other side, like if I make a second page, I can use this circle and add more, right? Because I know you're not going to see it. Like I'll just tuck it underneath the photograph is what I mean. You're going to see it. Okay, so I'm just going to start laying these things in. So this, before I push things down too much, I'm just going to kind of decide. Okay, I want to lay this sticker down so I know where my bottom is. So they have one of the border stickers across the bottom, and I'm not going to do that down here. I'm going to leave mine open. I want the harsh line across the bottom, but this sticker, I'm going to use it. So I'm just going to take the stick off. I'm going to add 3D foam to it, and then we can kind of gauge where I'm going to put everything. So this I'm going to put on thick 3D foam. I'm going to add thin 3D foam quickly to the back of my photograph so that once we get it stuck down, I can tuck kind of the flowers in both sides. There we go. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. Okay, so I'm going to add the thin 3D foam on the back of the photo. like I said, just so that I can kind of pop some things up. So, and I'm not putting it right to the edge of my photo. So I have a photo mat here because I wanted to replicate the little white border, but okay. So if I wanted that, I could normally just print it with a border, right? And then you get the white border. But I just wanted, because mine is much more colorful and bright than theirs, I wanted a skinnier border. So I just have like a 1/8 of an inch border. So I didn't print a white border on my photograph. I used a white photo mat and trimmed 1/8 of an inch off of my photo, so that it's just like a super skinny border versus a border like you get when you print your photo with a border. I need more thin for you, foam babe. Hopefully that makes sense. So normally if I wanted like a wider border, I would have just printed it with a border on my photograph. But like I said, I just wanted that little skinny border. So I just trimmed it off 1/8 of an inch on all sides. Okay. So here we go. So like I said, I'm not putting my 3D foam tape. This is the thin one right to the edge because I know I'm going to tuck some things under. You can also cut things too, right? Like if my flower is too big to tuck underneath, I can totally just chop it off. Nobody's going to know. Okay. But these things I kind of want to get placed. So this I'm going to move down here. Okay, so that's how I'm going to kind of rough this in, I think. So we have this big sticker over here, like that. So I want to make sure that this is up high enough that you're still going to see it. Okay, so that's about where I'm going to put that. And like I said, okay, so I have not taken that backing off that photo yet. So we'll go about there. I'm going to stick this down now and then tuck my photo in, but I think I want to put this down first. So for example here, if I had my photo already stuck down, but I wanted to jam this underneath, you can just trim it off, right? And you could actually trim it off and use the rest of it in another spot if you wanted. But because I haven't stuck this down yet, I still have the ability to add that. I also have not put any pressure on that yet, so I can move my sticker if I have to. Okay, so here we go. This is roughly how we're going to start this one. You guys, I don't know why it's autofocusing so badly today. Okay, and then I've taken the backing off of this, okay, and there. Okay, and then I have this one, You Making My Heart Happy. She was such a good dog. So she passed away at she was 16 years old. So I'm adding that right onto my photograph. She was the best dog. She was so good. I'm so glad we had her when the kids were small. When we got her in between my two kids, so Hannah was still really young when we got her. And we trained her, right, so the kids could have their hand in the dog food bowl and she would never hurt them or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to add this. Okay, so this is actually an instance where I think I might save part of this sticker. So I'm going to trim this off right here. And I can use this part later if I want to add it to some of the flowers. And like I said, because I've cut apart that sheet, I have lots of the wax paper just lying around, so I could just restick it. So I'm going to add this up here. Okay, and don't worry, we're going to cover that up. So now I have some of these flowers. So I have, this one is on White Daisy, and I just stamped it with Scarlet. And then these are the 3 markers that I grabbed for coloring. So I used Blue Turquoise Blend, Citrus Blend, and Alpine Green Blend. So, and I didn't do like a ton of fancy coloring. I just kind of picked up where they did some coloring, and that's what we're going to do here. So I have this one for over here. This one. We're going to add a yellow flower in here too. So I'm going to also take the stick off of the flower. So I'm just using my anti-static pouch, and I'm going to add 3D foam behind it. Okay. And I'm just laying it in place. So now I'm just kind of creating this cluster over here. So there's also some embellishing thread, and they used, I think, gold glitter gems and gold embellishing thread. I want silver, and it has to do with, you can't see it in the photograph, but she's got little silver earrings on. Leica's got silver on her collar. So I'm just bringing in the silver. So I just grabbed silver embellishing thread, and I have silver glitter gems. I also did grab the silver loose sequins that I'm going to add too. So I'm just taking a piece of embellishing thread, and I have a glue dot here. I'm just going to wrap the embellishing thread around my fingers. Okay. And then these happen to be the largest glue dots, but you can do it with smaller ones. I'm just going to lay the piece where all the threads cross over onto my dot. And then I can just, because it's a big dot, I can just fold that over with my piercing tool. So now it's just kind of encased in there. And I'm going to add it. I'm just going to trim my ends, because I like the messy, but not, I don't want stragglers. So I'm just going to add that over here. I know that's going to get covered up by a flower. You're not going to see my glue dot. So I'll do some thin 3D foam tape on. You guys, if you could see this little mess in front of me. I'm not normally a messy scrapbooker, so it's stressing me out slightly. Okay, so on this lagoon looking flower, I just have some thin 3D foam tape. Okay, and I'm just going to add that right there. I'm going to do the green one just flat on my layout. Okay, so now you can see why, if I didn't have those other pieces of the pie underneath, like I can just see it poking out just here, just a little bit. So I would notice it. Okay, so then this is the sticker. And I'm just going to add it in here. And that's my highest element. And then we have here the You Are Loved sticker. So I am going to, I'm just going to put that flat, kind of tuck it in to this little cluster here. And for some reason, that sticker is not sticky. So I'm just going to add, I probably hit it somehow with my anti-static pouch. So I'm just going to add a little glue dot underneath and tap it down. So that's kind of how this cluster is coming together. So let's see what else. I'm going to do the glitter gems at the end. Okay, we're going to add one of the lagoon hearts up there. So theirs is way up high. Mine I want tucked in here so it's closer to my cluster. So I'm going to put it right in here. Okay, so these things I've used. I'll move them over there. Okay, the distress oxides I'm going to put behind me. Just so I can actually like see in front of me here. So those we'll do right at the end. Okay, so now we're going to build our cluster on the other side. And then at the very end, I'm going to add the silver sequins in there. So this, I'm going to put over here. Okay, and then we have some more flowers to add. I need one more sticker flower, but okay, so let's put together our little cluster of flowers. So here is my one that's colored with the citrus. Okay, and then I did do a pile of the little ones if we need stuff, if I need stuff to tuck in, but I actually don't think I do. So then I have one that's on peach. And then I have one that I've got on flamingo. Okay, and I need another branch. So we're going to add this one right in here. And I love that green against the mermaid. So now this one we're going to tuck in underneath here. And I might use this green underneath here. Okay, first I'm going to tuck this in. And now let's see if I can get this. Okay, so I am just seeing if I can actually put it underneath the sticker. And I didn't press down crazy hard, so I think I can just tuck it like that so you're not going to see where I cut the sticker. So I just wanted to make that little green patch just a little bit bigger. And this flower now, when I tuck it in, it's got enough green there to rest on. Okay, so I did actually, there's a little stitched circle on that stamp set too, and this is peach, and I wanted it for putting the date. So I am going to add this right in here, I think. So I just stamped it and fussy cut it out. And I'm just going to tuck it in here so that I can add the year on there. So we've got now 3 circular elements too, right? So even though it's not a full circle, it reads to your eye like a circle. So now I'm going to do some thin 3D foam tape here for this one. And I'm going to add some embellishing thread in here too. So it's very staticky, so the backing to everything is sticking to me. So these are going to go up here like that. And this is just a piece of green apple, and I stamped on the light side with the leaf pattern. So nothing is stuck down here just yet. So now I'm going to, I have the flower here. So I'm going to add this in here too. So I'm just going to take my stick off that one, and I'm going to put a piece of 3D foam on the back. This is just the insides from the pieces for the shaker windows. Okay, so this is going here. Then I want this little word, adorable. So I have this to go in here. So I'm going to add my embellishing thread in there. This is my other half to save for another piece or another layout. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly do my embellishing thread. We're getting close. We're almost finished. Oh, I'm almost at the end of this roll. So that was so strange what just happened on my computer, but that's okay. We're having like a blizzard, so I probably have super strong winds outside, which is affecting my internet. Okay, same thing. I'm just going to add this on a large glue dot, and I'm going to add it right in here, and then I will tack everything down, and we'll add the glitter gems, and we'll be done. So if you find your embellishing thread is being a little crazy, you can tack it down in a second spot with a small glue dot. Or don't forget too, right? If you have another sticker that's going on top of it too, like this is going to be stuck down. So it will actually also stick down the embellishing thread. So Robin says, I really liked how you used the ink to make the background brighter. Love seeing your process. Yes. So sometimes things don't just come out of my head very clearly, but like I said, I knew because the artwork is very subtle, but because I knew my photos were really dramatic and had a big pop to them, I knew I wanted my layout to be brighter. So then I just had to come up with a different way to make them brighter with the same kind of color palette, right? So you could do the same thing too with regular ink, but it's not going to be as bright as the Distress Oxides. The Distress Oxides have so much more pigment in them, so that, because that's what they're designed for, right? To add color this way. So adorable. And I need something right in there. It's just because, there. I'm going to tuck a little heart in there, I think. Oh, or maybe I should just tuck in. So like I said, I also stamped a whole pile of these little flowers. And maybe that's what I just need in there. I'm just going to bury this in there just to fill in that little spot. So as you can see, right, I didn't really need all of my pieces of pie there, but you can actually see, if you look really closely, you can see almost all of them. So this just needs some adhesive on it. I'm tucking that in there. There we go. This, okay, so this, I'm going to just add some thick 3D foam just on the outside so that it overlaps my photo. We're going to add that pink heart. I was going to call it a star. It's a shape, but it's not, yes. So Lee says the yellow blends in nicely. Yes, considering it's quite bright, and it is just slightly different than the lemonade. So I went light-handed with it when I was using, like when I was blending it. But then of course, because I wanted the second, when I added the stencil on top, I needed it to show up, right? So I had to go a little bit heavier with that. So okay, so now I'm going to add the silver glitter gems. So I'm going to add some to some of the centers of the flowers and then just sprinkle a few on the layout. And then I think we are good. So I'm going to add them onto all the ones that I either stamped onto color cardstock or colored. So I on purpose put the green underneath the dot because once I put the silver on top, you will still see a little bit of the green, or I can add some more color. So this is the one I used, which is Alpine Green Blend. So I can actually color it to match the flower. And because I added the layer, I know it still looks silver on camera. That's so weird. But it's actually super green here. So, and because I added the green underneath, you can see it better. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here with this blue one. I'm going to add the silver sequin. You can instantly, I can see a little bit of blue when I add it on top of the flower. And now I'm just going to add some more marker on top to darken it up. I'm going to actually go right for the dark end. Okay, and then I'm going to do some over here. And these are just stamped on cardstock. So I will just, I might have to pick markers to match if I want to color them in more. So I might just leave those and color them after so you guys don't have to once I pick marker colors. So now I'm just going to splatter a few silver sequins in, and then we're going to call it done. So let me move some of this stuff out of the way. So I'm just going to, like I said, also, if you ever have like unruly embellishing thread and you just want to make sure it's tacked down, just find a spot where you could add like a adhesive embellishment on top of it. And that is also helpful for making sure it sticks down. So it's just kind of like a little extra security, and it gets your embellishing thread under control if it's out of control. So here we go. I'm just adding a few into each of the clusters. If I want, I can go back over with the marker and make them match, but I am okay with the sparkly edition. so feel like I want one right in there. Okay, and I'm just going to add my year on here, like I said before. And so I think that's it. So here is the original. So like I said, some things are the same and then some things are different. So the background is much brighter than theirs. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's probably watercolor or normal ink just smushed onto the background in layers. But I really wanted, like I said, because these are the companion photos, right? I knew that I really wanted it brighter. It wasn't really a layout that I wanted to have like a subtle background. Okay, guys, so that's what I've got for you guys today. I will take the measurements for the background pieces and I'll add it into the description above in case you want to and I'm sure mine are not exactly the same as theirs. But this is kind of where I came to that I liked the combination of the layers and I knew I could get everything in that I wanted. And like I said, this is a 4x6 photograph. So if you wanted a bigger photograph, you'd probably have to expand your layers out or take a layer out to make a bigger photograph on here. Okay, guys. So sometimes it's a lot about guessing. Oh, thanks, Lynn. Sometimes it's a lot about guessing and then some things you can figure out and then other things you want to adapt so that they kind of go with your own photo or whatever you're trying to document. So you don't necessarily have to like completely recreate it, right? You can just use it as your initial inspiration. So sorry about the little lag at the beginning there. Of course, it had to happen because that's just what always happens to me. But I hope you guys all have a great day and we'll talk to you later. I'll take some photographs and you'll see them on my page here later. And I might even do a blog post and add the measurements in there. Okay, talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me. If you're watching the video on YouTube, I'll add the measurements to the layers in the description below the video. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.